and Wanda got that fixed for me, so we should be good to go today. And then it depends on your reception. Hey, you guys, we're live. I know you're gonna come on at some point. Let me get in the camera and take this off my head. Oh dear. Hi, you guys, it's us again. Welcome to Socrates Speaks on Economics and Entertainment every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. right here on the Voice of the Community, WMPR 90.1. Feel free to make comments as we are live on Facebook under Socrates Garrett's public page, which is at SOC Garrett. And you can also call in at 601-948-5950. And for those that are texters and would like to make a comment or ask a question, you may text 601-699-3123. We think we have everybody pretty much covered. So we are looking for a great evening tonight. Remember that there are underwriting opportunities available by contacting me, Tamika Garrett, at 601-699-3123. And this program is underwritten by the Next Level Experience, located above the Jackson Police Department. It is your solution to providing facility rental, food, and entertainment for your entire family. It is located in the state of Mississippi in South Jackson. I'll give you more information about what's to come, including this weekend. We have some fun, exciting things coming up, and Silk's going to be calling us about his birthday party that's going to take place this Friday. And as you know, those that are on this radio listening all the time, Mr. Evers is having his birthday bash on Sunday, September the 10th. We'll give you more details later on. All right, Socrates, are you up? You ready?
I'm always ready, Tamika.
Let's do it.
I was born ready and committed to fight the good fight and take the advice of my good friend Kenny Stokes. Kenny Stokes says, fight, fight, fight until you hear the bell. He says it all of the time. Don't give up on the fight. So mine is a life of passion and purpose, and I know my calling. I know what it is I enjoy doing. I enjoy the life of an entrepreneur. I like high risk, high rewards, and so the stakes are real high. And so I come on this show every Tuesday to share my experiences, to talk about the vision that I have for empowering our community. But I want to start just a little bit before we get into the real purpose of the show and say thank you to some people that have made a tremendous difference in my life and in this business community. I want to give a shout out to Rose Robinson. Rose is the mother of Neil Robinson, who shared her 100th birthday party this weekend.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't make the party, Rose, but know that, you mean so much to me. I love you, and I appreciate the example that you set for all of us. Rose was the vice president of Alabama State University back in the day, the very first female vice president in this country, in the South, that I know about. So once again, happy birthday. I want to send a shout out to my good friend Cornelius Turner. I haven't had an opportunity to see C in a while, but I saw his lovely daughters down at my first visit to the new Westin Hotel. And they were carrying on his work, proud to be carrying on his work, and have made a name and a reputation for themselves in this community. I want C to know that he's meant so much to the business community. Most everybody that got started in business in one way or another came through Cornelius Turner. Cornelius Turner loaned me my first $30,000 to go into business. It's just amazing who God will send put in your path to help you along the way. I know that Albert Leeson and all of the engineers have worked with 4C and in his office. Johnny Chrysler worked 4C and in his office, and the list just goes on and on and on. And so, we got to take some time to say thank you to some people. I don't want to leave out and say thank you to the Cooley family that lost Lillian not long ago, and that family, Bill and Lillian and Tony, have done so much in this community. No, we don't recognize the achievements of our folk. We don't say that we're proud of them, that we see you and you're role models to the rest of us. Not many of us know that Systems was listed in Black Enterprise Top 100 right here out of Jackson, Mississippi. Wow. What a rich and wonderful heritage we have. I was talking to a good friend of mine that came to help. Help is showing up from everywhere, from all corners of the earth. Telephone is ringing. People are saying, how can I help? What can I do? We realize that your fight is real, and we want you to stay on the battlefield, keep carrying the torch. What can I do to help? So a good friend came by and sat with me for a moment and talked about his experiences and all of the kinds of things that they had gone through developing the Chicago market, and how after years and years and years of struggle under Mayor Daley, they finally got a breakthrough and were able to implement programs that elevated the entire African American business community. But it wasn't easy. And they realized that the struggle continues. And so they said, we are going to help you be the advocate for the Black business community that it needs. I want to send a shout out to my business partner, Charles Pickett. Charles is a guy that's got more talent and more experiences in the land of entrepreneurship than anyone that I've met. I want to say to him that his work and his dedication and his commitment does not go unnoticed. The things that I'm doing now and will be able to do in the future, I owe a lot to him in that regard. Because God will put people in your path. He will send you help. You just get up every day, go to the mountain, and do your work. I used to say that I'm going to get up every day, get my tack hammer and my chisel, and I'm going to the mountain. Because I got to move this mountain. And so, I want to tell people what they mean. I want to tell B.T. Jones what it means for me to know that a brother has built a business that employs 3,000 people or more and $100 million a year in revenue in this place, in Mississippi. My. If he could do it in Mississippi, he had been in New York City, he would have been bigger than Reginald Lewis, who started and founded Beatrice Foods. And Reginald is my hero. He and Marcus Garvey, two of the individuals that I list as my heroes, because what they were able to do against the odds and obstacles that were put in their path means that the pebbles and the small rocks that are in mine are not even to be considered as hindrances. Think about Marcus Garvey, who said that he wanted to have a fleet of ships sailing back to Africa, to Liberia. And he asked all his brothers and sisters to send him $1 to help him launch this shipping enterprise. And he did it. He started a shipping company and had a fleet of ships sailing from New York to Liberia. Yeah, you know that eventually the establishment didn't care for his success and tripped him up on mail fraud and things of that nature and put him in jail for a while and finally put him in exile back in Liberia. But Marcus, you were inspiration to me some 200 years later. I think about you and your dedication and your commitment and your determination. And I get up and I go to work and I fight for what I know is right. And I support those people that are in the fight with me. And I support those that are not in the fight. I get that much from my Bishop Crudup every Sunday morning. To love everybody, hate no man, regardless of what they say or what they do. Don't be reduced to smallness. Think big. Believe in restoration. Believe that God has purpose for you. Believe that He'll show you the way and that He'll bring help and He'll bring people to aid you. And so, listening audience, those of you out there that believe in that black enterprise is the key to saving our communities, thank you for believing and just saying a prayer and be encouraging to those of us that are on the battlefield. You know, I say that help is coming from everywhere. Tamika last week showed me a website that one of our listening audience had texted to her that they knew would be meaningful to me. And the name of the website is Black Wallets Matter, by a brother named Lou Gamble out of New Jersey. And I spoke to Lou over the weekend and we shared stories from New Jersey to Mississippi. We talked about the struggle. But Lou has gone a step further and he has written a plan that will bring dignity and empowerment and restore our communities. I'm going to share that plan with you tonight. I'm going to ask you to consider joining this movement. But before I go to Lou's plan, I want to not bypass the brothers and sisters and ministers that have created an organization here in Jackson, Mississippi. The organization is called BMA, Business Ministerial Alliance. And BMA simply believes that the business community and our religious community have to join together to encourage our elected officials to do the right thing. And to that end, BMA was created and has done some wonderful work. We cut some commercials. Many of you might remember that Pastor Dwayne Pickett of New Jerusalem Church was featured in the commercial along with Bishop Ronnie Crudup Sr. and the young lady, Joe Brashear's daughter, her name slips my mind right now, were featured in that commercial. And we were simply saying that we have to do better in Jackson, Mississippi. So BMA is strong. Pastor Blunt, Pastor Jenkins, Fruiter, Pickett, a lot of other pastors, business people, Marcus Wallace, Thelman Boyd, James Covington, and the list goes on and on and on, have come together to say that the secret to our success, our solution, and our problem lies in the same area. Now, people, I believe that black folk can fix black folks' problems. So I don't talk about white elected officials. I don't talk about the governor of the state and the things that the state doesn't do, and I don't talk about what they don't do in Rankin County. I don't talk about that, because our opportunity is in the areas where we have political achievement. We should then be followed by economic achievement. Maynard Jackson showed us how to do it. We don't even have to think. We don't have to create anything. We just follow the roadmap that he set out. All purchases under $50,000 can be made by any government state institution by simply picking up the telephone and calling who you will or may. All purchases, just a telephone call. And yet, my phone didn't ring this week. Mm-mm. And your phone didn't ring this week. And it hasn't rang ever before. All purchases under $50,000 can be secured and procured by a simple telephone call. Come on, folk. We got to do better. All professional services contracts, RFPs, requests for proposals, can be secured by a selection. They're not mandated to public bid laws. But my phone didn't ring this week. And yours didn't either. In a city that's 85% African American, county that's majority African American, boards that are controlled by African Americans at our airport and our school boards, and our counties and our cities. Request for proposals gives you the flexibility to choose someone from your community to provide a service. Come on, people. You know, when the majority community was in power, and they are still in power, but not in our inner cities. Our urban cities are controlled by black folk all across this country. We got black mayors everywhere you look. 60 black mayors in the state of Mississippi alone. State law says that you can buy any product that is shown on state contract without bidding. So if you want to buy floor wax, and the brother has his product approved and on state contract, listen up, Jackson State, you can buy that floor wax without bidding. Just buy it off a state contract. Come on, Alcorn, you hear me? You know how much floor wax you buy? But my phone didn't ring. And yours didn't either. I'm going to take a break, turn it over to Mika, give you the telephone number to call in and a little bit more about the entertainment side of what we do. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about Lou Gamble's Black Wallets Matters Plan for Success. Tamika.
Thanks, Mr. Garrett. So, trying to pull this up right here, but wanted to let you guys know, and he's going to call in too. So this weekend at Next Level, just to let you know, Next Level Experience is located above the Jackson Police Department. For those of you who haven't yet to come, I don't know what you're waiting for, but hopefully you'll decide to come this weekend. On Fridays and Saturdays, we have a live band, different local bands throughout the city, as well as our own house band. Shout out to Dr. D and the Next Level Band. They perform Friday and Saturdays, like I said, at 9:30 until whenever people get tired of partying. We typically close at 2. Also, to let you know, waiting for Silk to call in, but this Friday we're going to have a birthday celebration for Silk himself with special guests and a performance with Trey Williams. Ladies, we all love Trey Williams, so yes, he's going to be back in the building on Friday, August the 25th. The doors open at 8 o'clock, and you can get your tickets coming. Hopefully by Wednesday, we'll have everything set up on impacttickets.com. Again, you can get your tickets for the comedy show and featuring Trey Williams at impacttickets.com. I also want to just let you guys know that if you haven't been listening, but Mr. Evers is doing his birthday celebration. He's going to be turning 95. That is absolutely a blessing. Many of us may not be able to see it, but he'll be here celebrating his birthday with us at the Next Level on Sunday, September the 10th at 6 o'clock. You can purchase your tickets only at the radio station WNPR. You can call up here and speak to someone about that at 601-948-5950. We have a call. Let's see if they call back. But the tickets are only $50 in advance and $55 at the door. I'm sure you do not want to miss it. They have a wonderful lineup of entertainers such as Bobby Rush, Peggy Scott Adams, Carl Carlton, and Miss Millie Jackson. So again, we look forward to seeing all of you guys as a celebration for this man who definitely is worthy to be celebrated. Mr. Garrett talked about celebrating and giving people their thank you and their shout outs while they're here and recognizing their achievements. And of course, he's achieved so many different things. So we look forward to this event coming up in September. Again, there are underwriting opportunities available, and you can contact me at 601-699-3123. And then I'll come back in a little bit and talk about some more things. But as the football games are starting, the holiday season is right around the corner. New Year's will be here before we know it. Please consider having your special occasion with us at Next Level. Again, we provide live entertainment. We have in-house DJs, decorations, catering, etc. You can call 769-447-4518 or text 601-699-3123. Please visit our website at nextleveljxn.com. I think we have a caller, which we would love to take and see what they have to say to us this evening.
Thank you, Tamika. So, we are going to caller, you're on the air. You're on the air, caller. I'm sorry we missed your call. Call us back. We're going to talk about Black Wallets Matter. Tamika, I think you gave the call-in number for our listening audience, but
I did.
Okay, you didn't?
I did.
Okay, great.
Well, I'll give it again just in case. 601-948-5950. 948-5950.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to talk about Black Wallets Matter now and Lou Gamble. And I'm going to just read a few things to you, so bear with me. Lou says the cause. The cause. He says for 246 years, African Americans endured the dehumanizing ordeal of slavery. Without question, it was one of the cruelest atrocities ever recorded in human history. We were treated as subhumans. We were stripped of our language and culture. We were forcefully ripped from our families and bought, sold, or traded like heads of cattle by white plantation owners. And although the Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation were supposed to signal the end of slavery, for roughly 100 years more, we were systematically abused and discriminated against.
Okay. Thank you for calling, caller. How can we help you? Caller, can you hear me?
Hey, it's Silk. How y'all doing this evening?
Hey, Silk, we're wonderful.
Great. Yeah, I heard you say you're waiting on me to call. You know, I was sitting here just couldn't wait to mash that button, hit the spin.
We'll tell everybody, we'll put Mr. Garrett on pause for a second. He's giving us some great information here with the Black Wallets Matter. But go ahead and tell us about your birthday celebration this Friday, if you will.
It's going to be, it's really going to be a great show. I appreciate all people at Next Level for, allowing this opportunity to happen here in Jackson. What we're going to have, I said, so my birthday was actually yesterday, but we're going to go ahead and get the party going this Friday. I'm going to have comedian Jay Fizzle, really funny guy right out of here, right from Jackson. We got comedian Q, another Jackson native. We keep that money right here in the city, like y'all talking about, hey, Black Wallets Matter. Then we're going to have comedian Nardo Blackman. He was a 2016 Comedian of the Year here in Jackson. Really funny guy. And then we're going to wrap that thing up on the comedy side with Miss Rita Brink. And everybody knows about her here in Jackson. The girl's hot. She's on fire. She's going to comedy scene. She just did the Kevin Hart of the City show here, filmed at Next Level. She's on tour with the Ricky Smiley friends and tour. So then after we go, everybody's laughing, your stomach's hurting. I hope your legs won't be hurting too bad because we're going to be ready to dance and party the rest of the evening because we're going to have Trey Williams himself in there. Look what you don't know won't hurt me. Him. Yeah. So we're going to have him wrap that evening up. It's going to be, you can get the tickets online. Like they're really process of doing that. Hopefully first thing tomorrow morning, y'all can wake up and go to impacttickets.com and buy tickets on there. It's $20 right there. It's $25 at the door. We're going to have VIP available. It's just going to be an all-around good time.
Okay, that's wonderful. Should they have any questions, please give them your phone number so that they can call you.
Right. If they have any questions, they can call me at 601-500-0034. Really easy number to remember.
Okay.
500-0034.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for calling in. We look forward to celebrating your birthday with you and everybody in the city of Jackson on Friday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Much love.
Our pleasure.
Good thing.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Silk. I appreciate you even more for using impacttickets.com. Impacttickets.com is owned by an African-American male, James Covington. And it's a wonderful website where you can purchase your tickets and for all of your events, all of your football games at historical African-American universities. The tickets ought to be available on impacttickets.com. Eventbrite and Ticketmasters, they've ruled for long enough. Let's spend our dollars in our community with our folk. It doesn't cost as much on Impact Tickets. You're empowering a young African American and you're returning the dollars over in your community.
And you're controlling it because you're the back end, you're the back office of all your emails, your videos, etc. It's a wonderful platform for selling tickets.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, how are you, Socrates?
Hey, Dot, how are you?
I'm good. I attended the rally today of the demonstration against the Confederate flag being flown over the state of Mississippi. I think that everyone should become knowledgeable of what that flag stands for. When I was a child, I would see that emblem. I didn't understand. I was not educated to that. But I think that we now must educate our children and our older adults, like myself, to the meaning of that flag. Now, there is an effort to have another flag to replace the Confederate flag, and that is a flag that they call the Stennis flag. Now, in my opinion, John Stennis was a rabid racist, and I don't want a Stennis flag or any type of flag representing this state unless it's a flag that has been printed or put up by the people of the state of Mississippi that want to change the flag. So I just want everyone out there to know that we don't want a Stennis flag. He's just as racist as those Confederate generals like Davis and others, and we want a flag that will represent all of us. Thank you so much for taking my call.
You're welcome. Call anytime, Dot. Good information for the community. And there are all kinds of rallies going on in our state. And there was a march in Hattiesburg last week. Similar, could have been similar to the one in Charlottesville. And there are marches and going on everywhere you can think of. We're in a difficult time. So let's stay focused and let's stay focused and stay on the job and know what we're fighting for and know what we want. You know, too often, too many of us get everything that we want the day of the election. We got to stop that. We're entitled to become first-class citizens and enjoying all of the wonderful things that America has to offer. Not fighting white folk because they believe in white privilege. I just believe in black privilege. I believe that as a first-class citizen, we should have the same quality of life as everyone else. And you can't get that without economics. Political power leads to economic power. And if it does not, there is a break in the chain. When the break occurs, we must restore it. And the only way we restore it is that we elect people who share the same vision of our community, is that we want and deserve the same quality of life. We want to eradicate poverty in our communities. We got to get this done, people. Anyway, let me get back to Lou for a minute. So Lou was saying the Emancipation Proclamation was supposed to signal the end of slavery. For roughly 100 years more, we were systematically abused and discriminated against under what were known as Jim Crow laws, and to add insult to injury, since the mid-70s, we have become victims of prejudicial drug laws and mass incarcerations. Hold on a second. Caller, you're on the air. Caller, you're on the air.
Well, I got a question for you, Mr. James. You a contractor, you can tell me. How come every time this city has to do a big project, whether it be the Western, it be King Edward, it be Fair Street, which I'm still waiting on the money for that back. Why in the hell does the city have to put bars up to cover a loan? How come these people can't come back and borrow the money? I don't ever hear Madison County give that. Why does she Jackson every time? And these might not know the business that own that property. So the king of everyone all the way. You never hear the white man get bond money put up for a project they're trying to do. But yeah, a white man goes in there and they put up $100 million bond for him a hotel. Hey, why can't they go to the bank and get it?
Carla, you ask good questions. You know, we have to be better stewards of the funds, and we're going to have to become better managers. And we're going to have to follow fundamental practices. And that is, like my granddaddy said, you know, if you didn't go to law school or didn't go to business school, granddaddy said, your outgo can't be greater than your income. Now, you can go to Harvard and study business for 1,000 years, but at the end of the day, you're going to get right back to that simple principle. You can't spend more than you're taking in. And when you do, then you're unable to grow as a city. But Carla, you keep asking questions, and maybe some of the people that we put in office will be able to answer that.
Mr. Garrett, you have a text message from RD is the initials. It says, Mr. Garrett, you mentioned that you know your purpose. How did you find your purpose? He says he's still trying to find his passion and purpose for a career. How did you know what yours was, and when did you realize it? And thank you for the text, RD.
Well, it was easy for me because I was a third generation. And so I saw my father in business and his father in business. And so as a 6-year-old, I was making logging companies out of sardine cans by crimping the top on one can and making trailers and making roads and bridges and selling products. So I knew that, you know, business and entrepreneurship was for me. My daddy never had a job in his life, nor did his father. And so I knew that I was going to be in business. I didn't know exactly what business I was going to be in, but I knew I was going to be buying and selling goods and services. So it was easy for me. But one way you know your purpose and your passion is, what is it that you really enjoy doing? And how can you make that thing that you really enjoy doing give you a quality of life? So you got to go back there. And if for a lot of business people, you know, we don't have to have the same passion that I enjoyed, because now at this point I enjoy the things that successful businesses can give me, and my passion is to do that. But initially, you have to have a passion for what it is that you're doing. I tell an analogy all the time that basketball players play basketball all during the season. Then they off for the summer. Guess what they do during the summer when they off? They play basketball. And so, you know, that's their passion. And that's what they do. Singing, dancing, comedians, business people, preachers, all have a calling. And so you have to find yours. And when you do, you'll be standing in the door before daylight, waiting on the day to start so you can go do your thing. Thank you, Carla, for the text. But back to Black Wallets Matter. Continuing, unsurprisingly, the result of more than 400 years of oppression and relegation to the status of permanent second-class citizenship has left many of our brothers and our sisters traumatized. They are confused, scared, brainwashed with self-hate, and now find themselves economically and socially disadvantaged in a country that was literally built on their backs. Self-hate. Our city council recently hated African American business, specifically Garrett Enterprises and specifically Mayor Yaba, until they maliciously accused him of trying to rig the bid so that the professional service contract wasn't a bid, to rig the professional service contract so that his campaign contributor, Socrates Garrett, could get the award. And they fought that thing, and they advanced that lie, and they pushed it in this community till they awarded the contract to a white female company out of Philadelphia, Mississippi. Now, I love Brother Young, the mayor of Philadelphia. I had dinner with him the other day. Great guy. But Philadelphia has a rough history. And when you think of that 5 black folk, African Americans, would take that contract and award it to a white firm out of Philadelphia on professional service contract, it just tells you how much self-hate we have and what we got to overcome. The results of slavery, the results of hatred, self-hatred, it's what's keeping us down and holding us back. But I'm going to get off of that. I'll continue with Black Wallets a little bit later, probably next week, because there's some powerful stuff I want to get here, because the solution is in here. So I'm going to continue just a minute, and then my good friend Bo Brown is going to share with us. Carla, you're on the air.
Yes.
Hey, Doc.
Jefferson Davis and the others in the Confederacy saw enslaved blacks in captivity, as a commercial type of product. And we are still having that same thing done to us today. The commercialization of black people for not their benefit, but for other people's benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Just a little bit more. In the 1950s and 60s, many of our black community leaders fought for racial equality, while others tackled economic issues. Each faction believed that their cause was the key to address African American problems of the day. The achievements of the civil rights movement cannot be discounted, but it is plain to see the black community still has major economic and racial challenges. As any black man or woman can attest, there is no shortage of current issues for starters. For starters, we lack unity, we lack racial pride, we lack opportunities for our youth, we are unemployed and underemployed at a disproportionate rate, we receive substandard education at a disproportionate rate, we receive substandard health care at a disproportionate rate, we experience generational poverty at a disproportionate rate, we experience mass incarceration at a disproportionate rate, we experience police brutality at a disproportionate rate. Despite these challenges, we cannot afford to throw a pity party and bemoan the situation. We must wipe away our tears, stand up tall, and accept the cards we have been dealt. Then and only then can we prepare our minds to begin the important work of finding a solution to our problems, using whatever resources we have available to help ourselves. We'll talk a little bit more about the solution next week. Bo Brown, always good to see you, man. I appreciate you stopping by. I always like to take a moment and give thanks to those that have come on before us and people who paved the way and made it possible for you and I to get a good education. I want to talk about powerful black families and what they've done, Bo, and let's give them the just due, not so that we just only thanking them, but we're inspiring others that they can do it too. You know about some of this black pride, don't you, Bo?
Yes, Socrates, I appreciate you having me come by for a few minutes. You know, I always tell people that certainly, you know, I've been in politics and I'm never too far from politics, but you know, I didn't get into sports now, and sports is kind of like a neutral medium that does not get too far on one side or the other. But yes, indeed, Socrates, I have a very a good opinion about that, and because of the fact that, and I have been crying, and have been screaming about this, and you know some of this that I'm about to say. You know, we have to go back to the 50s and 40s here in Jackson, and pluck, shall we say, the African American families that actually stood up and fought in Jackson. Now, you know, there are a lot of people, believe it or not, that's 65, 70 years old, and the first thing you say, or they say, I was a part of the civil rights movement. And a lot of them perhaps were. But the majority, and this is what you got to keep in mind, and I want you, this is probably going to bring a comment from you, because your people were the same in the same category I'm about to mention. My late sister, Thelma Sanders and I.S. Sanders, business people in Jackson. I.S. Sanders was a long-time educator at Alcorn State University and about a 30-year principal at Lanier High School, first one in the new building and all that. And he was one of the first realtors with real estate license in the city of Jackson, owned the pharmacy, owned the cleaners, owned a woman's haberdasher, a millinery shop. I mean, about at one time 50, 60 rental properties, and you know, a true businessman. But the point I'm about to make is this: most of the families, Mr. Garrett, that were involved in the civil rights movement were independent families. Anybody that was working a job, y'all do the research now, whether it was the state, whether it was private, whether it was whomever, if they were drawing a check from the white institutions, by and large, because black folk wasn't writing many checks except black business folk who had a few. The bottom line is they could not participate in the movement. If they participated in the movement, that check was what?
Cut off.
Cut off. And so many people, you know, come forth and say, well, I was in the movement. What kind of work did you do? Well, I worked down for Jackson Paper Company. I worked for the state of Mississippi. I was a school teacher. Number one, school teachers never could get involved.
No.
Absolutely. No school teacher, no black school teacher. So I guess what I'm saying is we have few families than what the record may show that actually fought for our equality during the civil rights movement. And I'm saying to you, as you've always promoted, 99% of the fighters were actually business folks, self-employed, who signed on both sides of the check.
Absolutely, Bo. Tell us a little bit about some of those families, Bo. I'm from Madison County in Farm Haven, and went to school for a few years up at Velma Jackson, but finished high school at Piney Woods, and then went on to Alcorn State and graduated from there. And I kind of moved around the movement that was occurring in Jackson, Mississippi from 59 to 68. I was being educated in the periphery of what was the battle right here in Jackson, Mississippi. And so I missed a lot of that. And then when I graduated from Alcorn in 68, I went to, like most people, I got the heck out of here, went to Los Angeles and started my career. But my family certainly was in that struggle. They were burning crosses in my dad's yard.
Absolutely.
And he, as I said earlier, he ran for supervisor in 79.
Your dad was a businessman, though. He was independent. Yeah. He could do what he needed to do.
He could certainly do it, and he put his life on the line.
Right.
But tell me a little bit about families in Jackson. What about Richard Moman? And
I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah, we call him the Lion, Richard's daddy, Sonny Moman. Richard, Sonny the Lion Moman, one of the earlier realtors in Jackson. And he was a legitimate businessman. He sold appliances. He was a construction contractor. He was one of the first, he along with Cecil Fred and R.L. Bolden, they were some of the first African Americans in And this is a result of the civil rights equal opportunity era to get some government contracts from the federal government to provide office supply for the Head Start programs and for elementary elementary school and private daycare. They were some of the early businessmen who were able to make money through the federal government based on the fact that they had all of the prerequisites in place to qualify for that money. And it was, like I say, it was Sonny Moman, Richard Moman's daddy, great businessman.
I hear the name Percy Simpson. What did he do?
Oh, but God! One thing about Percy Simpson, Percy was not a direct frontline civil rights advocate because he had a precarious and a unique situation. Percy Simpson, ladies and gentlemen, was my uncle. I don't know if you want me to say that, but Percy was a legitimate businessman, but he was a businessman who had gambling, he had illegal whiskey, and he had club entertainment, and of course the legitimate side of his business was a lot of rental property. But the bottom line is, Percy Simpson made...
Hold on a second, Bo.
You got a call.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, I have lived in Jackson all my life. And one of the things that is different today than back in the day is like Socrates, you have hired and employed over 100 people, which affect their families. It may not be that you employed the family members, but the money or the resources that you gave those families helped them. Now, back in the 40s, 50s, and early 60s, black businessmen were not able to employ other people. They had their families to take care of, and they were only able to use their family members to help them in business. I know you're calling names and everything, but most of the money that they made was just enough to sustain their families, and they did not have the economic power to put the resources into the hands of a larger number of people. So I want to salute those people for being able to be in business, but it did not spread out enough into the African American community to help everyone. Now, my parents worked and got a check from the white community, but I was a student during the civil rights movement, and I was able to do things that my parents didn't know that I was doing because I was in school in the daytime, they were working, and I was able to do my thing. So we got to have businessmen today that can employ other people like you have done. And until we are able to do that, we're just going to just be feeding our own families, and we're not giving back to the entire community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dot. I know your history as well, Dot, and you've made a significant contribution out here. I believe you were Miss Lanier at one time.
Oh man, Dot was something else. And Dot has been a fighter. She's been a fighter all her life. But Dot is right about one thing, and of course I was coming to that. Mm-hmm. That's why the movement, and this is historic, very historic. Do you realize the movement centered around students? The demonstrators, the protesters, the marchers, that was essentially students. Why do you think Tougaloo College was a catalyst in this movement during the 60s, the Civil Rights Movement? Because they were Tougaloo College students. And if you look around the whole nation, and people are not talking about it enough, matter of fact, the Freedom Ride, a lot of them came from Kent State University, down here. Tennessee State University had a whole contingent of students to come down here on the buses. The students were the ones that were the proactive agitators.
The Tougaloo Nine.
Tougaloo Nine, and from then on. And not only that, people have forgotten the fact that Lanier, Jim Hill, and Brinkley, on a unified effort in 1962, 61, and 62, had a complete walkout boycott where all of the seniors, upperclassmen of those three schools converged on City Hall, historically, which many people don't even say much about that in terms of demonstrating. But again, they were students. So Dot is right. A lot of the adults could not demonstrate, could not protest because they had jobs connected to.
Yeah, and let me say this to her point. They didn't have political power behind them. And so most of the wealth in this country is coming from, commerce created government. We got to remember this. Business people created government. And they created the government so that they could pool the resources of the community into one place, and then they could award contracts for goods and services for themselves in business. Commerce came before government. And so our folk, business people back in that era, didn't have the benefit of a black elected mayor.
Right.
In a black city council.
Right.
Bo,
Supervisor.
Bo, you did more when you were a city council person, you and Louis Armstrong, that helped black businesses than any council we've ever had.
Socrates, I appreciate you saying that, because that's one of my goals when I was on that city council, was to make sure that African Americans got their fair share of the pie, as I call it.
Right.
Quick point, and you got a great point. I remember one time we had the budget hearings for the Jackson public schools, and don't want to call any names, and I ain't gonna bear no blame, but the point is, I remember they came before us, and I asked the financial analyst, or the director of budget for the Jackson Public Schools. I asked him, I said, what percentage of African American contractors, what percentage of your budget goes to African American contractors? Well, the initial statement he made to me, Socrates, it really pissed me off. I hate to say it like that. And that's indignant, y'all, but I didn't say that day, and I didn't react that way. But, he had the nerve to tell me this was a black man. Say, I don't know. 2000, now this is around 2000, 2001. I said, you mean to tell me that you are bringing us a $200 million budget up in here, and you don't know what percentage of that budget is going to African American businesses? He said, no, we have not analyzed it from that perspective.
Wow.
I said, well, I'll tell you what. Now, and Lewis, of course, supported me, and I think Kenneth stuff. I said, I'll tell you what you do. This was the first round. I said, when you come back in about a week, in the second round of the budget hearings, we want to know those figures. Make a long story short, he did come back a week or two later for a second round of hearings on the budget, the public school budget. And I believe, Socrates, if I'm not mistaken, he told me that they calculated about 5 to 10% of a $250 million budget was going to African Americans, which means $2-3 million
wow.
out of two. And here's the other kicker though. That, as you remember, that prompted us to come up with that decree to pretty much guarantee 20%, which Harvey, I think he lowballed that, because a lot of folks say we should have got more. But as you remember, shortly thereafter, we came up with a decree that passed federal scrutiny that allowed us to set aside, in essence, at least 20% of our budget from public entities for African American businesses.
Well, Bo, that has been eroded. That is not the agenda of our current city council, the ones that we've experienced in the last 8 years. That's not been a part of their objectives.
No.
That's just, they have no interest in that. And we got to
I can't understand that.
I can't either. Bo, they say it's time we got to go. Well, I want to invite you to come back, and I want to really get inside of the African American business person's contribution. I want you to tell us about Percy Green and people like that and who they were.
Sam Baker. Sam Bailey. We got to mention Sam Bailey.
Mention him, man. We got to get back to Walter Washington and Bo and what happened?
And Thelma Sanders, I got to mention my beloved sister. I'm gonna tell you right now, Sock, that lady was a fighter from her heart.
Was she a warrior, Bo?
What are you talking about? She's part of that Carwell family. You might have heard of the Carwell family.
Okay.
We got to talk about them.
Okay.
Man, they were some kind of civil rights leaders, big money people. And Charles Carwell, you know, he was renegade over there in Clinton, and they pretty much ran him out of town.
Well, boy, they're playing the music on us. Listen to the audience. We've enjoyed talking to you tonight. Tune in to us next week as Bo Brown and I continue to get inside our American history in the business community. Good night.